please remind me. Sometimes I forgot to record. Okay, I started the recording. Let's get started. If anyone joins, they'll join. It's already 7 minutes off. So this is going to be our first session, and I'll be continuing the training. Probably Dhanush will be taking one more session next week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, and he'll be wrapping it up. He'll probably post an assignment or something. Let's see. Yeah, he'll be posting our assignment or something, and then we'll use our ERP Ring Central to continue our meetings going forward. Let's put aside, and I'll be sending the meeting links separately to your these accounts, like whichever Gmail account you got today, you'll be getting it to the same thing. Okay. Any questions there? Nothing. Yeah. Okay. And any questions on Dhanush's classes before, or any questions on reports, business objects, data source? I'll again cover what is a data source and what is a business object. But do you guys have any questions? Everybody looks great. Okay, thank you. So business object, right? So Workday stores your data as a business object. This is the slide you already have seen. Let's go through it once again. Business object will be a single instance. A business object can be a multi-instance, depending on what purpose it is serving. So each data source, Workday delivered data source, will have its own business object. For example, all workers will be having a worker business object, or all active and terminated workers will also have a worker business object. All indexed workers data source will also have a worker business object. So your worker business object is constant, and your data source is changing. That means so you can access certain fields from worker business object if the fields are included in the data source. Picture on what a business object looks like, right? So for example, worker is your business object, and worker is directly linked to position. So you can extract position from worker business object. So if you look for position on a worker field, it will give you the position value that particular worker is in at a particular point in time, right? And position will have roles or job profile linked to it. So if you want to look for job profile from worker, you will also find it on worker, because worker directly also links to job profile, but it also links to through position. So you can look for worker and then go to position and then go to job profile, or you can directly go to job profile also. So it's like, let me show you where do you find it in Workday. Yeah. Okay, this is a Workday. So BO worker. So BO is a sense, it is a shortcut for business object. BO worker takes you to the business objects that has worker in it. So I'm looking for worker business object. It will take time to load.
Krishna, is it worker is just like a job record in PeopleSoft? Is it something like that?
I'm not that good in PeopleSoft. I mean, I haven't worked on PeopleSoft, but let me find something. Let's say worker is like your employee table, for example.
Employee table, okay.
Yeah, and you have your primary key, which is your employee ID, and also you have your position table on the side. So if you want to look an attribute in position, you might have to link your position ID from your worker table or employee table into the position table, and then get an attribute that is in position table, right?
Okay.
So that's how they're related. So worker business object has 3,476 fields in this tenant. what I mean by in this tenant is workday delivered fields are always same across all clients. So workday delivered fits a workday delivered field. For example, number of hires. This is a calculated field. This is not a workday delivered field. So someone in this tenant created a custom, or not a custom field, created a calculated field that's calculating number of hires. We'll go into what calculated fields are. But if you see field source is calculated here. To show you how a worker object looks, workday delivered. Yeah. Simple workday delivered. For example, active worker or future hire. So this is a true or false condition. You see T and F in the field name. So T and F is true or false. If you go to actions, your report field is active worker or future hire. This basically derives if the worker is an active worker currently or is he a future hire. Then it will be marked as true. If it's inactive or neither a future hire, then it will be false, right? And the field source is work delivered. So this field is available in any client. So you don't have to, you basically have to know, okay, I can use this field to look up active workers or future hires, right? And the field type is Boolean. So these are all fields. So you can create custom or calculated fields on top of workday delivered fields, but you can't create calculated fields out of anywhere. So you have to have a workday delivered field, and then you build your calculation on top of the workday delivered field. And what is worker, in what data sources worker is available? So if I go to data sources, so out of all these data sources, all retirees, worker is your primary business object. So worker has 37 data sources in this tenant. I mean, it will be the same across all tenants. It only depends on if your client is using more modules than just the HCM. If they're using benefits, if they're using other modules, then you might see more data sources in there. Otherwise, it's all generic. And you can also see reports, how many standard reports are using worker object 339, and how many custom reports are using worker object 420. That's not used. And you come to here called related business object. Okay, so related business object, as Dhanush explained, so it creates a relation between your worker and a different business object. For example, a position should be a related business object. Okay, a position has 25 links, so you can go from worker to a position. So, or for example, how do you explain it? Yeah. Simply put, right? So this additional jobs is in position actually, and then it has a link, it has a direct link to worker as well. So it's a link between position and worker. So this additional jobs field is linked both for worker and also position. So it's kind of confusing, but let's see in the report how it looks like, how we can access it. But you can find what are all the related business objects that are linked to worker, and what are all the related business objects that are linked from worker.
What's a field type for single instance and multi? Like if you go to the particular field or something, there's a field type there. It has a like a multi-instance field type as multi-instance, and then single instance. So what's the difference between that?
So you guys know payroll results, right?
Right.
So payroll results is a multi-instance. In a sense, like you will have multiple payroll result lines for each worker. So for example, this pay period, I can have one payroll result line, and the next pay period, I'll have different payroll result line. So I have multiple payroll result lines. So that's a multi-instance. So all these payroll results comes under one field called payroll result, which is a multi-instance. So if I go, okay, these guys have payroll search. Payroll results. But so each if you want to only look for the payroll result that's in this period, it will only have one record. So that's the single instance. So it's how mapping is. So I can map from one. I do have something on that. And okay, you guys see it now. Okay, so let's think about this way. So this is an employee object or employee object, and it has one-to-many relationship with dependents, right? And one-to-many relationship with languages. So language is a multi-instance. So you'll have multiple languages that are linked to one employee. So one employee can have multiple languages. So languages are multi, or dependents are multi-instance because there are 3 or 4 dependents. But compensation grade, an employee will only have one compensation element, or he'll only have one compensation plan. That's a single instance. So it's a one-to-one mapping between a worker and a compensation plan that he's having. Or he'll only have one-to-one relationship with the manager. An employee will be only having one manager at a time.
So Krishna, is it like a parent-to-child relation records which we have in our SQL?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I
It's
relate
similar to that.
business object to a table?
Yes, you can relate a business object to a table.
And the way
business.
the workday data is like, can I pull the reports based on a particular date?
Yeah, you can always look for effective dates and entry dates when a transaction is entered, and you can pull data as of a date or as of an entry moment.
Okay, it's basically we don't see the data in the SQL developer, but everything, whatever I can do in SQL for a table can be done with a business object as well, right?
Yes. So let's create a report first. So then you guys will easily understand how it looks like. Okay. How do we create a report? Create custom report. So Workday, you can search for using three letters. So create custom report. Let's create first underscore report. Let's create a simple report for now. There are 6 or 7 report types. I almost every time use advanced reporting, but we'll go through what each one is. Okay. And data source, I'll pick all workers. So for all workers, my primary object is worker. Okay, and what are all the fields I'm looking for? I'm looking for employee ID. So employee ID, and if you go to actions, you'll see the description of what that field is. If it's a worker delivered field, so employee ID or contingent ID for a worker. And you also see other employee IDs here, CR underscore employee underscore ID. That should be a calculated field. Like someone created a calculated field, someone created a substring text. So they basically might have substring the employee ID into first 2 characters or something. That's a calculated field. For those, you usually won't see descriptions. And then let's say position. Position is a single instance that's Workday delivered. And then let's see active status. So active, what does this give? Calfield. I hate Calfield. Active status TF. So this is a worker deliverable field. It returns says if a worker is active as part of report data, report date, if provided excludes worker who are on certain leaves or who's terminated. So this is a worker delivered field, Boolean type, active status. Let's also see multi-instance. This is a multi-instance field. Okay. And then I'm clicking OK. So I've added 4 fields right now in the report. And then if I click run, it will probably give me all employees in the tenant. So that might take some time. So let's click test. Test will randomly select 10 employees, 10 lucky guys, and then it will only show those outputs. So it will be easy to test our report. It's quick. It's quick. So employee ID 21457 is in a position associate director, and he's active and he does not have any languages. So let's go to his employee record. Wow. Okay. How did Vijay end up here? His active status is this, and his position. If you see position of that employee, it's associate director, general management, right? So this is a simple report. So all I can do is I can look for an employee, I can look for his position and give his active status, right? I don't see more options to do here, but if I create an advanced report, create custom report, advanced first. All workers. I'm using the same data source. Nothing's changing. You see, this business object field, it's not available in your simple report, right? In your simple report, all you have is fields. So in a simple report, it directly links to your primary business object, which is worker. You don't have an option to query from the secondary business object. It's like you are querying only from one table. You can link to a different table and get data from the table. If that field exists in worker, then you should see that field in this report. If the field exists in worker, you can't get it. That's a simple report. So it's pretty simple. And then advanced report, you can go deep into different objects that are linked to worker. So for example, on worker, I can get my employee ID. Okay. And then similar way, I can go to my position. Right? Position is a single instance, right? Okay. And I can use that position here as my secondary business object. Okay. And then I can go into a field that I want to get from position. Let's see. This is Vijay's position. And then I want to get if he the management level from job profile. Okay, let's try to get this field, the management level from job profile. So all I have to do is go to the position. I'm on a position object, management level for job profile, right? Yeah. And then I can go back to my worker because I need my active status. And then if I click test, I got 21457, and the management level from job profile is 5 director. Right. That's what we just did. Okay. So in a single instance field, you can query deep into that thing. You can get fields from that single instance field as well. It's like your secondary table, or it's your different table. You can link those two. Question?
Krishna, actually, what are the important business objects which we need to remember? And is there any way that, these are the important business objects which we should remember, and these are the important, usually I'm just correlating with people's topic. There are certain tables which are very important where core information is getting stored and we can pull the data. In similar way, in Workday also, there might be some core related business objects. And where can we see those business objects? And let's consider there is a scenario like I read in the material saying like each business object is driven by the security given to you. And suppose if I don't have a security, how can we we rise, or how whom we need to ask in order to get the access to those business objects and all.
Yeah. So let's answer it one by one. So Workday, I haven't seen anything that gives me what are all the important business objects are there, but I can tell you Worker is the main business object that you use almost on every report. But I always think it's quite simple because everything you use the terminology in Workday, it has, I mean, it's similar to business object. So if I'm looking for a position and the position object exists and all positions data source exists, I always go by searching. So if you're thinking, okay, what business object I need to use, let's see what we have. So if I'm creating a report on position, I look for a position object. If it exists, then I'm fine. Okay. So that's how I go into it because there is no cheat sheet. But it's all naming convention is also simple. It's the business naming convention we always use, right? That's the simple thing I always find. You have position restrictions, but it's always you need to search and explore it. There's no way. So your second question on security, if you don't have access to any data source or security, I would say it's our responsibility to find out what security we are missing. If it's a development environment or test environment, usually as developers, we'll give security to ourselves, or we'll ask our security administrators to give us security. But it is better to always know how to give security to yourselves or a different user, right? So once we get to the security, he already explained. So, okay. So we have a position object. How do we look for securities? That's the question, right? Okay. An object will not have any security. A field in Workday will have the security. For example, in my custom report, data source, this data source has security. So if you go to actions, you'll find view security here and the security tab. Just open it. And you'll see all the domain policies that this data source is binded by. So if you have access to any of these domains, you'll have access to the fields in the data source. But each field also have security by itself. So position has security. So if I view this, worker data all positions is the security policy that's binding that field, right? And here is the domain, and staffing is the functional area. And these are all the security groups that are permitted to view position. HR administrator, CEO, CFO, benefits. They're all user-based security groups or role-based.
So do we have option of encrypting the field in the report, Krishna?
With what? Come again?
Some of the fields like to relate in PeopleSoft, like we in Dev environments or in UAT environments, we do mask the data, right? Encrypt the field so that you can't see the data per SSN number or the bank details or some sensitive data, right? So do we have that option?
So we usually, if we want a user not to see a value in a field, we'll make sure that user do not have security for that field. So for example, if I don't have security for position, I will not see that value in the output. I'll see the rest of the output, but I'll see the position column as empty.
But still you'll be able to run a report with that field?
Yes, I'll be able to still run a report, but that field will be empty for me. So for example, and SSN is different, so that's why I included SSN. But if you don't have access to management level for job profile, right, this entire column, it will remain blank for me. But I'll be able to run the report. I'll see this position, I'll see this employee ID because I do have access to those. All I don't have access is management level. So that's where I will. But SSN is different from Workday also recognize SSN as very secure. So it has something called masking. So if you don't have, there are some fields on SSN that masks. It shows that stuff. But if the user has enough access, it should give him the masked social security number shows only the last 4 digits. Others are hidden. There are other fields also. This is an SSN field that's masked. So if you want to see the other field, it's called social security number. Social security number. The United States social security number for the workers. So if I do this. Well, I don't have access to social security number. That's why I'm seeing it blank, even though there is a social security number for this one.
Okay.
That's me. Wow. Okay. Let's see what security is driving this. So social security number, view security. Amen. Let me start proxy as Logan McNeil. So you guys are using Logan McNeil's account, right? Always?
Yes.
Okay. So view custom report. And one more thing here to observe, right? I did not share this report with anyone. So this report is marked as do not share report definition, right? My advanced first. But if you are a report admin, if you have a high level security, you will be able to see a report. You have to use view custom report task to look for the report. Advanced first. Because Logan McNeil is the report admin. So that's where she can see our report. But she can't be able to run it because she do not have access. So I edit it as Logan McNeil. Go to share with all authorized users. Okay. Now let's test this report as Logan McNeil. Interesting. Yeah, it's not showing anything because we of course do not have any social security number. It's showing all fields as star and the last 4 digits as empty.
Okay.
But I can add SSN and then we can see it there. Otherwise, this is how it is. Okay, and then how do I add filters, right? So I go to my filter tab. So you want to see only inactive employees. So you have filter on instances. So this tenant is little bit advanced. This is like VMS tenant, right? Like I first explained, this has more features than what I regularly use in Workday. So I mean, even the version is same. This will have all the features that are turned on. So Workday 30, for example, the new Workday 30 is coming next month. But not all features are turned on for all clients. They'll be delivered for the clients. It's clients' responsibility to turn it on or just if they don't want it, they just leave it turned off, right? But in this tenant, everything is turned on. So I never saw this filter on aggregations before. Might be new in 30. Fields on the report, active status. So you can look directly for the fields on the report and then filter them, or you can look for any field that's on worker object. Let's say worker type. Worker type. The worker type, employee or continued worker type for a worker type. And I have an operation exact match within the selection list, not in the selection list, subset of the selection list. Or I can also say count is equal to, so how many number of, what's the count in this worker type? It should be always 2. But in the selection list. And value specified in this filter, and the comparison value will be, okay, who do I need? I need all employees. So let's click all employees. I can add more filters. I can say or fields on report, my employee ID is equal to. So did you observe there is a difference in the operation list between when I look for an employee ID operation list, this gives me different values. But when I look for worker type operation list, this gives me different values. So this is a simple difference between a single instance or a multi or a normal text field. So worker type is an instance field, single instance. So that's where it's saying, okay, I do have a selection list now. So I have to select from multiple values in an instance, right? So that's why it's coming as in the selection list. Employee ID, whereas it's a text field, so it does not have values. I mean, it does not have list of values in there. So it's saying, okay, I have to say employee ID equal to value specified in this filter, and I can enter an employee ID here, 21465. So now what we are saying is, okay, I have a worker type which is equal to employee, or an employee ID which is equal to 21465. Click OK, and then test. So it will give me the same 10 employees as it gave before, because we have an OR condition there, right? So let's change it to an AND. So I'm having an AND. So worker type should be an employee, and my employee ID should be 21465. Now you should see only one person, right? Because you have an end condition, and it basically is saying, okay, my employee ID should be this one always. I will only give you this value. Okay. And it also displays condition as text. Worker type is selection list employee, and employee ID equal to 21465. Okay. But what if you don't want to limit or hard code the value in the filter, right? You don't want to just hard code your value in the filter saying, okay, my employee ID should be 21465, but you want to give a user an option to run it using an employee ID. Okay? So then what you'll do is you have worker type example. You have this kind of comparison type, right? Value specified in the filter. You can go to this and all. It will say prompt the user for a value, or prompt the user for a value and ignore the filter condition if the value is blank. So if you check this, if a user did not enter any value in there, it will basically consider, okay, it's blank. So I'm ignoring the filter condition at all, and I'll return all workers or all employees. And then value from another field, you can also get value from a different field, like a date field, which you want to prompt later. So we'll look at this field later. So prompt the user for the value and ignore the filter condition. It's blank. So these both went to default prompts. Okay. So in the prompt section, I need to configure those prompts, right? I need to add a row, and if I select on field, I go to all. These are all the 2 fields that we are trying to prompt. So it all automatically appears here. What if you don't want to prompt defaults? You can say populate undefined prompt defaults. So this will automatically populate these 2 prompts because you did not define it, but the report is expecting those prompts. Yeah, so You have these values here, and then you can give a default value.
Krishna, what's the standard way? Like first you have to define the prompts and define the filter there, or you can define like,
Filter. First, we have to define the filters because filters drive prompts. You want to create a filter and then say, okay, my employee ID should be the value that's coming from the prompt. Either way is fine, but I'll say go for the filters first and then come to the prompts. And I defined a default value as employee, and I mark it as required. That means it will show a star when people are running it. I can also say do not prompt at runtime, or do not include. I don't know what this is, but do not prompt at runtime is basically it considers the default value as is. It won't prompt the value or ask the user for a value later. And then the default value, I don't want to specify any default value here, and I mark it as not required. I click OK. Test. See, when I specify the default value, it's still asking me for a value, but it has a star in it saying it's required. So a user has an option to change it if he wants to. Okay. Or if he doesn't want, then he can leave it for employee, and I'm looking for 21465, and I get the same response here. I can just click back. I can change this filter to 21466, and I'll get a new employee. And what if I do a contingent worker here instead of employee? I'll get a blank because this employee ID is an employee's employee ID. It's not a contingent worker employee ID, so your filter condition basically came to false. Okay. Questions?
Krishna, what if you run without giving any employee ID, just blank employee ID? Do you see any employees, or it doesn't give anything?
Let's do it. So worker type employee, I'm just giving blank employee ID. You should see all the 10 workers you should possibly see. Because in my filter condition, I said from the user for value and ignore the filter condition if the value is blank. So it's basically ignoring this employee ID filter at all. It's not considering it, and it is only looking for worker type equal to employee and then giving all the values.
Yeah. Okay.
So Krishna, whatever the reports you run, you will be able to see them in your W drive and it gets saved in the process monitor, right? So the reports which you run, will I be able to view that if I have the access for that report? Or do I have to again run the report if I have to see the output of that report?
You have to run it. There is an option to share the report output with users. But the things that you see in W Drive is, for example, if I'm running this report and if it's taking too long, you can run. This is easy. It is running quick. But if it's taking too much time, you'll see a pop-up saying notify me later. If you click on notify me later, then it goes to your W drive because the report is running in the background. If you want to just see the report output and it's a quick report, you can just run it from the UI and it will show you the report output. But if it's taking too long, then you basically you're scheduling it in the backend. But this report is it's getting too quick. But your workday drive, what does this have? More reports in the last 30 days. Nothing. Last 300 days. Nothing. Okay. Yeah, they did not have anything on their W drive. I mean, all the reports are running as quick because the population is just 400 employees. Okay. And a shortcut to view a report is RD, report definition, and then you look for your report. Advanced first is your report definition. So you see a gray box here, right? If you click on this, it basically runs your report for you. So that's your directly your run click. But if you want to view your report definition, you have to go to this one, the report definition one. That will give you the. Okay. Let's add some name. Okay. Okay. Now I have names and everything, right? So let me run this report again. No problem. So I have this employee starting from 2-1, Logan McNeil, first name, last name, and this all everything, right? So now I want to sort based upon my full legal name. So I want to give the users a report that is sorted based upon the worker's legal name.
So Krishna, so now the social security number is showing up in the results.
Yep. Yeah. Because previously when I clicked test, right, it gave us all of our records. And we don't have a social security number in the system, but Logan McNeil has access to it, and she can see all these employees' social security numbers. Yeah, these guys have empty social security numbers.
So how do you prove it if the field had blank values or you didn't have the access? You just have to keep troubleshooting?
Yeah.
Because I see a flaw too, because the users may think that there's no data.
It's not really blank, so let me show you it. I mean, but for example, if they're seeing these person's social security number, and they should be able to see this person's as well, if they have that security. Otherwise, when you go to your worker, personal IDs, edit government IDs, add a social security number here, government ID, country, United States. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can plan submit. Okay, this went for an approval process. We finish this approval real quick so we can see. So this went for Harish Chanda for approval. Thought Harish is also in our team, right? Inbox. ID change. Article approve. Success. So the process is complete. Let me start proxy again and go for login with me. Right. Article. Okay, now she should have an SSN here. And my report also should give a value for an SSN. SSN we just entered. I mean, but you're as a developers, right? We should troubleshoot. That's for sure. We don't know, but as an end user, it's your responsibility to give him security if it's required, and if it doesn't require, he should not see it. Okay. Going back to sort. Now I want to sort all the employees based on their legal name, right? So I just run this report in a different tab for now. All employees. Come on. Actions, edit. And then there is a sort option here. So I can sort based upon a field. I just add a sort field and then say, I can do a fields on report, or I can also sort fields that are not on report also. So I can sort based upon an address something. I can do that, or I can basically say as required. So I'm going by my full legal name. Okay. Alphabetical order, you can go descending or ascending, and then click OK. So, okay. Now you see anything starting from Adam. So that's the first one. Previously, you have Logan McNeil on the top because previous sorting by employee ID by default. Now we adjusted the sort to look for full name. It's getting Adam first. Let's add some more fields here. Let's add cost center. Company. Okay, now I have a workers, cost center, and company. So I have the cost center, I have the company. Let's see if I can
Hey, Krishna,
group all these workers. Yeah, right.
if you know a field and you don't know the business object, can you do a reverse search somewhere? Like if cost center was not in the worker, it was somewhere else, and I don't know the business object, how do I find that out? Is it possible?
It is possible. I'm looking for. For the task name, I forgot the task name. I mean, but if I simply search for cost center, and if I go to reporting,
Okay.
I should see the fields, the cost center fields. There are like 10 cost center fields. One is on job applications, one is on payroll result, one is on adjustment for. But most of them give you the same value, but it's like the cost center can be derived from that business object also.
Right, but I don't know the business object name. What I'm trying to ask you is, I know the field name, the probable field names, and I'm trying to search. I just don't know which business object it's in. How do I find?
So, I mean, if you search for cost center in the search and go for reporting, you should see the fields down there. But how do you identify which field you use? Is you have to look for the actions and you see which business object this cost center field is. But it all drives based on your data source, right? So if you are looking for cost center is an easy field. But if you're looking for cost center and you say you want to give it based upon each worker, so each worker has a cost center. So you're looking for worker object then.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the worker object cost center.
Krishna, I have two questions. Like, just now we added a social security number for Radhika employee, and how can we know the changes has happened on particular employee? in PeopleSoft, whenever we make a change or something, we use an effective dated concept where we add the changes so that when we query a table or something, we can see on this particular day, this changes happen or something like that. And how can we track in this Workday, and how will we use it for reporting purpose also?
Sure. Yep. Good one. So when I went to Radhika's profile, right, when I go to job, there is something called worker history. Worker history, yeah. Something called worker history. This basically gives me all transactions that happen on Radhika. I can also view worker history by category, but for example, Radhika has two transactions here, which is her hire, and then we perform the ID change. So most of the transactions have effective date, but ID change is effective on the day that is initiated. So that's why it has an effective date as blank. But hire has an effective date as 1/27/2018. So you can do a past date, you can do a future dated hire. Doesn't matter. Based upon this effective date, the employee will be active as of that date, right? But this is where you can see. If you want to go to reporting, we'll get there. There is, as this is worker history, there's a field called worker history, which will give you all the worker history. Let me add it actually. Let's add worker history here. So on worker. Worker history. This is a multi-instance object. Okay. So if I run this report for Radhika now, you see the worker history of Radhika, hire, and then ID change. But you want to see what date it is effective. So what you have to do is you have to drill down to hire date. So for example, if you want to see what date the hire transaction was initiated or what date the hire transaction was finished, you have to drill down to this event to identify those dates, right? So now you want to look within the worker history for each record, what's the transaction level is, initiated date is. So my worker history goes to as my object here. Okay. And then I want to see initiated. What's the date? Date and time initiated. We go to actions. The date and time the business process was initiated. Okay. And I also need the date and time completed. Date and time completed. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, you have your worker history, and then you have your effective, both the transactions, effective dates, and time initiated. So previously, someone asked what's the difference? I mean, how do we go into multi-instance, right? So multi-instance basically is how it represents this. So you have two transactions for multi-instance, and then you want values from both the transactions. It's how you do it. You use the multi-instance in your secondary business object to get those values. But I also want to add something more here so I can recognize which transaction is what. So I'm going to my worker history and then action event. You guys might be thinking how to remember all these names, but it all comes on practice. Workday, I don't know. I don't know how you guys learn PeopleSoft table names or something like that, but this is all on practice for me. So I have my hire, which is effective dated as 1/27, and date and time initiated this date and time because I have this one here. So now all I want is only the hire event. I don't want this secondary event here, right? So how do I remove this? Let's remove the employee ID first. See, then now the report is taking too long. It's because we added worker history, and worker history is a big data source. So now I get an option called notify later, and I can create a request name underscore report, and I can give it a format, head of PDF or Excel, effective Excel, okay. Now you can go to your Workday drive actually. This is where you can see the process monitor and you can see that report running in the background. Process monitor, report. Okay, report is processing right now. So let it process, let's not worry about it.
So here, how can we, like, since we created this report, how can I restrict a particular column not to see by other people when I share this report for them to run?
How can you restrict just one column?
Yes, like security wise. So actually, right now we share this report to run for every authorized user or something, right?
Yeah.
So is there any way that we can restrict that, this should not show for them, or is it only driven by the security group which we defined it or something like that?
Yeah, it's definitely defined by the security group, but you already have seen an option right here saying share with only authorized user groups or users. So as we give, I can add a user here, so only she can have access now, unless you are a report administrator. So you guys can look into your tenants and search for this report at once first. But if you are not a report administrator, only Radhika will be able to find it.
Do we have any option of hiding the columns in the report after generating the output, Krishna?
Not without by security. I mean, it should be done only by security. You can't hide it.
Okay.
If a user do not have only security, then only he can see the field. But when you're creating a report, right, for a business user, you'll probably only use the fields that the business user needs and he has access to, he or she has access to. But if it's a generic report that every employee is using, he can only see what he has to see. He will not see anything extra. And there is a valid option called do not show if empty. So for this, it might answer your question. So if you check this box, if the field is empty, it will not probably show for the employee.
And how can we transfer the ownership of this report to other users?
Yeah. Okay, let's go to actions. There is a transfer ownership on the custom report. Currently, this is being shared with Radhika, and then this is being owned by myself, right? So if I want to transfer the ownership, transferring ownership is different from sharing, okay? I mean, both almost perform the same thing, but you are the owner of the report. That one is shared with you. So I want to transfer the ownership to Jay. Okay. Oh, okay. I know what's happening. So none of you are able to own this report now, right? even Radhika probably will not be able to own it because none of you are report administrators or report writers. So all you currently have is security administrator, which is allowing you to proxy in as login McNeil to do certain actions, right? What are you doing right now? That's why if I'm trying to share it with Radhika or anyone, it is not allowing me to share because or own it. So you are not a report writer. Let me go to Radhika's profile here. Then. Let me go to Jay's profile. Add Jay. And then I go to actions, security profile. Can you view security groups? And he has all security groups, but the only user-based security group he has is security administrator. But if I want to change it, I go to actions, assign user-based security groups, security administrator, I'm adding a report. I'm adding report administrator or report writer. Okay. Now, if I look for Jay here, I should show.
Okay, thank you.
So, see, now if I am looking for RDA column advanced, Logan McNeil can't see it because the report is not shared with her. She doesn't own the report now, right? That's why you don't see the report. But if I want to if I'm a report administrator and if I want to see it, I go to view custom report, advanced first. Okay, I'm able to see everything now, the report. And I do see 7 errors here. So what it's saying is field is invalid. So worker history is invalid for Jay Chutkari. And as Jay Chutkari is owning this report, but he does not have access to worker history, he'll not be able to basically run it. It will have errors, right? But if I transfer it back to Logan, Logan should not see any errors. Now it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, and you guys will log in as Logan, right? So you should be able to see it as well. So no worries. Okay. So maybe we stop the worker history. Okay. So now I want to see only hide events, not all events. Okay. Test. Okay. I want to see only hide events. So I'm going to edit my report. So in my filter, if I try to search for event type, I don't find it. Worker event for returns the latest completed worker event viewable by processing person with event. It's not the one I'm looking for. All I'm looking is the hide business process or this event itself. Because that event is not on worker object. Let's add that field in the report first. Go to report, edit, worker history, event type. Okay. Come on. Okay. So the event type is retro hire. And for hide, the event type is retro hire. And for ID change, it's an unknown event type. This time it did not specify anything for ID change, right? I want to filter unknown event types. Okay. How do I do it? But I don't find event type here. Do you guys know why? Want to try? because all your filter conditions are based upon worker object, right? And where is your event type coming from? Your event type is coming from worker history, not worker, right? So event type is coming from retro event details. It's not even coming from worker history, but it has a link to worker history. That's the reason I was able to go to worker history and get event type out of it, but it's not on worker. So how do I filter this? Is I go to sub filter. You can create sub filters to filter on a secondary business object. So I'm adding a sub filter, and you can select your business object here and business objects on the report. You can select worker history, and you will be able to find that field now. Event type all equal to unknown event type. Subfilter, okay, worker history, filter. Okay, now you did not see the hire events here, right? But you still see the employees because those are still available. Those are coming directly from the worker object, but on the worker history, you only see ID change because we subfiltered all other records. Questions? This is a little bit confusing topic, and if you guys understand the relation between a primary and secondary business object, reports will be easy.
So this subtype is only for secondary objects which we interlinked on the when we are building the query and all.
Yes. So subfilters can only go on. I mean, they're only useful to go on secondary business objects because you can't filter event type on the primary business object with this worker. You're filtering it on secondary business object because that's where it is available, right? And what if I don't need these fields at all because these are all empty right now? This worker history is empty. I only need this. I don't even need Jay Chetkaris or Kiran Birwali's account here. So how do I do it is I go to my actions, edit. Now I have a subfilter saying event type equal to unknown. I can add a filter that says worker history. Is not empty. So only give me transactions where worker history is not empty. Okay. Now I click test again. Okay. Now it did not give any of our records. It basically gave someone else's because they don't have worker history as empty. So these are all unknown event types. Yeah. We see only Radhika's profile. We did not see Kiran Bilwari or Jay Chetkaris in here, right? Because whenever we subfiltered on unknown event types, we basically filtering. You don't have any worker history left because you have a hire event, which we said do not include hire events, only include unknown event types. Okay. What else? Any questions on the single multi instances again? Anyone?
No.
Good.
Do you have an option of creating the custom business objects, Krishna? Or we always use only delivered ones?
Custom business. So there, like we discussed before, there is one option called custom object. So that's client specific. So you have a limitation of creating 50 custom objects or so. So you can use that. That will be a business object, but it has to be linked to a primary business object. Even though I create custom.
Can I create a custom object and make it as primary and use a second custom object to make it as a using that custom? primary
No.
object?
So yeah. So if I create a custom object, it has to be linked to a Workday object. So it needs to have a link from a Workday object, because let me show you. I have a drawing board or something. So I have my I have my data source, right? So my data source will always have a Workday delivered business object view, right? This is always linked by Workday. So you can only create one custom data source, but that's a limitation. I mean, Workday did not figure out how to create custom data sources yet. So all you have is Workday delivered data sources, and it has linked to Workday delivered business object. If you want to create a custom business object, you have to link it here.
Okay.
Custom business object. So if you are creating a custom business object on a worker object, right, and it has linked to data sources called all workers, I'm pretty bad at drawing.
Okay.
So in this case, all workers, you'll have access to worker, and then you'll have access to your custom business object.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at this. Okay. Okay. Don't worry about it. Let's go back to our report. Okay. I removed worker history. I removed everything from there. Don't worry about it. Okay. And we looked at filters. We have looked at sort. Grouping is another thing. You can also group based on cost centers, right? So you can group all cost center employees into one group, and you can display them as one item in the report. Sublevel sorting is similar to your reporting. Sublevel sorting is similar to your sub filters. You can sublevel sort on your secondary business object. So in my previous case, if I want to sort on worker history and give me based on the date and time initiated, so I have to use my sublevel sort to sort it based upon the secondary, which is my worker history object. Right. That's that. We looked at filters. Sub filters. We looked at prompts. Okay. And you guys have asked me before. So there is an effective date in prompts, effective date and entry date. So you can prompt the user for an effective date, or you can prompt the user for an empty date, entry date. So in this case, you'll get a effective date and entry date prompts as well. So what these define is, if a user is entering an effective date as of 1/1/2000, he'll only see records as of 1/1/2000. Right? That's right. So I hope anyone know? I mean, everyone knows effective date is an entry date concept, right?
So entry date is like an action date of PeopleSoft.
Entry date committee.
Entry date is like an action date of PeopleSoft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Effective date is when the transaction has to get effective. PeopleSoft should also have effective date, right?
Yes, it has the. That's why I did not mention, because it's the same. But PeopleSoft has the action date, so which is same as.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know those concepts, just let me know. I can go into it. But Okay, output. Let's see what other outputs we have. Taking too much time. Output. You have different output types. You can give a chat and table, gauze, table, worklet options, and you guys probably have seen worklets before. That on the front end, right? If you want to configure, add something to your worklet, add your report here on worklet. If I'm looking for if I want to add this advanced first report to the worklet, I have to enable this option, enable as worklet, and home, and then only I can find advanced first here. You do not click it. Click. Okay.
I'm sorry if I missed
Advanced
it.
first.
What's a worklet again?
So worklet is when I work on Logshin, right? It's the first on their front end UI they can see those reports. So for Logan McNeil, inbox, dashboards, date and time compensation, you can add a report directly within this front home page. So a user can directly click on it and go to this report.
Okay, so PeopleSoft calls it at work center. Okay, got it.
Those are all the same guys.
I can see that.
The name is different.
Just a different way of calling worklet, work center, dashboards.
Yeah. It's the same Anil Bhusri who came PeopleSoft and ran Workday. And you see your advanced first. That's your report on the worklet. So that's how you do it. And just looking if I'm missing something here. Okay. So edit. And we have seen share. Okay. Share with all of you have seen it. And advanced. There are options to freeze first column, refer currency, save parameters. I don't really care. And this is what it's really important. Web service options. So enable as web service gives an option for this worker, or for this report to be accessed via an API, or you can create a URL for this report, and an external person can access it directly. For example, let me show you. And did you observe this web service API version? It's in Workday 31, version 31. So that's why I'm saying this is way beyond like next year tenant.
Is it a SOAP-based web service or is it a RESTful option?
Report is a REST-based. It's called a RAS, or report as a service.
Okay.
So if I enable it as a web service, I'll show you how it looks before. So you'll notice the difference. So if I go to actions, I see web service already. Why do I see? Should not see. Okay, yeah. I don't see any URLs. I don't see URLs that I can use. All I see is RSS. But if I enable this web service and if I give the version and then click OK, okay. Okay. It gave me an error saying you need to enter a secondary business object down here. So group column headings are nothing but your XML overrides. Those are like your XML tags. So you can specify your group column heading here. That will be your XML parent tag or your child tag. So I click OK now. And you see your column XML override alias automatically populated. Right? And now if I go to web service, view URLs, and if I give it an employee ID, okay. Now I see different options. I see CSV, I see JSON, I see XML. Two types of XMLs, Workday XML and Simple XML. Show you the difference. Workday XML is it includes all the Workday IDs, the backend Workday IDs, what we call WID, WID. We'll have those, but simple XML is pretty simple, straightforward XML without any descriptors or things like that. Let's see both. So click on Workday XML. It will ask me for my credentials. Okay, let's see. Task submitted is not authorized. Yes, because this report is not shared with me, right? It's shared with Logan McNeil and Radka. So let me share it with me first. If I click it again, I don't have one or more fields referenced in the report filters. I don't have access to event type. And go to subfilters and remove this because we don't need this subfilter anymore. So let me remove that, click OK, and then view it again. Okay, now it's working. So you see this URL? I'm copying the URL in the top, and then I'm pasting it. Notepad++. So this is your tenant, HTTPS custom report to about GMS1 Logan McNeil. Logan McNeil is the username, and this is your report name, advanced first, question mark, where employee ID equal to 21465 and worker type equal to this something, this language. Worker type equal to D588 something, right? This is called WID, the Workday ID, which drives, I mean, you can just directly mention employee because employee is an instance. If I look for this WID, so this WID is nothing but your report parameter, right? So it's your employee instance. Now I have my data, right? I have my report data, everything in an XML format. I can also go for simple XML. It will be a little different than Workday XML. And you also see n format equal to simple XML at the end, but you don't see it for this URL. And I can use this URL and call this report from anywhere. If I have the authentication parameters, if I have the username password, I can use this URL and call this report from anywhere. So this is like a REST call that you can give it to your external vendor. You can create a report and enable it as a web service. You can give it to your external vendor, and he can make a call directly to Workday to extract data. It's recommended to use only small sets of data because that will be quick and it will be easy. And
This
you
is
see the difference.
sorry.
Go ahead.
This is a way of exposing the services to outside vendors or something. So let's consider if I want to use a web service provided by a Java system or something. So how will we use it here for a reporting purpose? Can we extract? Can we use an external web service in Workday in order to pull the data from other system and then use it for reporting purpose, or can we dump into a particular business object and then from there we can create the reports or something like
that? The answer is yes. But so a report as a service, this is always a pull. So someone external is pulling data from Workday, right?
Yes.
But what you said is you are getting data. So you are getting data from an external Java API or something with an external system and uploading it back to Workday, right?
That's right.
Yeah. For that, we have to use Studio,
Mhm.
and you have to call their external system. But report as a service is sole purpose is pulling data from Workday. So we'll get to see that when we go to Studio.
Okay, so in RAS, it's only Workday to Otherworld, but not from Otherworld to Workday.
Yeah, report as a service, it's from Workday to Otherworld, and they have to pull it. You can't even push it.
All right. Okay.
Okay, and you notice the difference between simple XML, and Workday. This is Workday XML. So Workday XML, you have the management levels for job profile. You have the descriptor as 6 manager, and you have the bid for the 6 manager and things like that. So if I'm looking for this bid, that thing is I don't have access to most of this stuff. Yeah, 6 manager is the management of it. For looking for a bid, you need to do WID and then look for the bid.
So when do we
Okay,
use
and then
Workday XML, or when do we use simple XML? Is it like simple XML is for outside world and Workday is like, to interact with another Workday tenant or something like that?
I personally use simple XML always, but Workday XML is when you need these widths. But you will get to see this width useful in Studio when we are only calling our report. So in Studio, we will have an opportunity to use this report as a service and get data from Workday and extract the data and do some create a file, flat file, or create some reporting also in Studio. So in that case, we'll use this width and everything if needed. So that's when we use Workday XML if we need this width or if we need to keep this format. Otherwise, simple XML directly gives you the 6 manager as a value in this job profile. It will not give all these widths and management level IDs. Yeah, if you need a management level ID, you'll only get it in Workday XML. If you don't need a management level ID, you just need a value what the management level is, then you're good for simple XML. So depending on what requirement is and what you pick. Okay. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Let's see what else is reminding the reports. You also have JSON if you want JSON.
Oh, and one more question. Usually when we are creating the reports in the organization, they asked the header format and then the footer format like this, with their organization name, when they run the process, like start time and end time. So can we format the reports according to the organization format? Can we do that way on this reports?
Organization. I did not get it, but let me answer one more. Let me add one more point here. Column heading override is say your report heading. So if you want a column heading override to say employee instead of employee ID, you can override it here. For example, if you want social security number to say SN full, you can override it here. And if I test this, come on. Yeah. My employee ID changed to employee, my social security number name changed to SSN. That's how we change the header of the report. Are you asking anything different?
Now, can we print this report in the PDF format? So I would like to see the header and footer of the report, how it's coming up.
Okay, so printable version, PDF. There you go.
So if you look at here on the first, there is a report name called test and :advanced report, right on the middle of the report.
Yeah.
So, and on the left side, you have a global modern services. This seems like a delivered template inside the Workday. So can we customize this one? Like in some organizations might require, they want to see their logo in the middle of the report, or they want to see in a different way. So can we customize this template, or is it only standard for every tenant like this?
Yes, answer is yes. You can customize the template. It is called business form layouts, and the tool that we use is called BIRT, B-I-R-T, Business Intelligence Reporting Tool, and it's part of your Workday Studio. That's like your most advanced concept in Workday. So editing these templates. I mean,
So-
we'll go through it,
Okay.
but not at this moment. I'll show
Okay.
you how to change those.
Sure. Thank you.
That's like your final chapter, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I mean, so we covered reports. We covered simple report. We covered advanced report. Let's quickly go through other type of reports. As an integration admin, or mostly we'll not use those things, but we'll just scan through those things so you guys have an idea.
Krishna, let's say I have, I need some 30 or 40 fields on my report. So do I have to go manually add field by field, or is there any way to select like multiple fields at once and dump them onto the report?
Yeah. Question. So let's see. Business object. Let's go to. Okay. Let's go to all work status source. All worker status source. Yeah. So you have 3,350 fields. So if you know all your fields are from worker object or all worker status source, you can create reporting, create custom reports from here. And you can select the values here, select the fields.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go to the object, not this. I went to the wrong place. Yeah. In an object, you can click actions, and then you can go to reporting, create custom reports from here. And what? Well, there is a way, but I never use it like that, so I've not known it. But there is a way I've seen. You can go to actions and then go to reporting. I'll try to find it. Give you guys next class. Okay, let's see the other reports. So matrix report. So matrix report are used for drilling down. So if you are creating matrix report, you can give an option for people to drill down and do certain actions on it. So employee ID. Position. Position cost center. See. Okay, there is a count. So in this cost center, Vijay Kumar is in this cost center, and if I have to, I mean, this is not a good example here, but if I'm looking for something like job applications, right, and I have my matrix report saying status. So it gives me all types of job requisition. So I have my job requisition here, and I have 10 people applied for the job requisition. So people can go here and look for all candidates. And I have my, yeah, based on job requisition. And you can also differentiate it based upon your job requisition status, if it's hired or not, and things like that. You can put it in there. But you can see this count is the total count, which gives you all employees probably. Matrix reports are generally used for groupings, giving access to your customer to drill down and go into multiple reports. So you can create other report and link it to your matrix report, and they can drill down to that report as well.
Can we create charts with this matrix report? Charts or graphical representation one?
Yes. Charts. Yeah, matrix reports can also be placed upon charts. Let's see. Have a cost center. Output type is a chart. Chart options. You can do a pie chart. You can do and this is not a good example, but job applications is a good example, right? You can see charts based upon how many requisitions hired an employee and how many, in any requisition, how many employees are hired, or how many applied, how many went into an interview stage, how many went into a different stages. You can do that. So in this case, you still see the count, but everything is 1. And here it went to total as 427. Because we are grouping by employee ID, so it's just 1 employee per count. So it's not good. But yes, charts are there.
Thank you.
The other reports. Search reports are created for search facets. Trust me, we'll never use these things. Yeah, I mean, if you want to try, you guys can go ahead and give it a try and see what other reports will do. And you have community access. I mean, you have documentation here as well, so you can go through the documentation and see what's the report definition and things like that. So you can go to report writer. Report. What's this? Composite report. Yeah. It'll give you an option of what we're doing. Create a matrix report you want, and you basically merge multiple matrix reports into a composite report. And composite report gives you more drill down options. Right? You can click on a report and you have job requisition. You click on the job requisition and you can drill down to a number of candidates. It's like it can give you a multi-level drill options. Right. And okay, we have last 15 minutes. That's all for reporting. We'll go into calculated fields next. So until now, all we have seen is work delivered fields, right? So until now, all we have seen is work delivered fields. The cost center is a work delivered field, and everything is work delivered field. Now, what if you want to calculate the field, or what if you want to, let's say, count number of instances out there, right? What if you want to get this, let's say, management level for job profile? This is on position, but what if you want to get it on the worker object and use it in filter, right? Because if I go try to filter it now, if I go to look for that management level now, I don't see it because that's not on worker object. And as I said, right, filters are only applicable on worker object. If you want to sub filter it, you have to go to position object. Or if you want to create a filter on position or management level, you have to go to your subfilter, right? But what if you want to get it on worker object? You create a calculated field. So we can create a lot of calculated fields. There are like probably 30. These are all calculated fields that are there. We'll go through the most famous ones, and I'll walk through most of them already. Yeah, we'll go through most of them in the next session. But for today's session, you guys can create advanced reports. You guys can use all the Workday delivered fields, share the reports. We discussed Workday as, report as a service, RAS. Yeah. Any questions on these topics? Anything I've covered quick or slow?
Will you give any assignments on these reports for today to do?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, will you be able to give any assignments on to create any reports or something like that?
Yeah, I have some requirements. I'll actually share those. I'll create a requirement document and I'll share it as an assignment. I have to. I don't know if we can use the same classroom. I think so. We'll use this classroom, 339 Workday. I see Kiran is missing and R. Pineti and S. Somyajlu. So 3 missing here. But other than that, everyone's here. So I'll use this one as our classroom, and I'll share the assignments here.
So in the next session, do we need the studio and get it installed? Or is it like...
We don't need studio until a couple of sessions, maybe like a week or 1.5 weeks. It's a lot more we have to discuss online. I mean in the UI itself. And later we'll go to Workday Studio. But if any one of you guys having any issues with Studio, I can stay a little bit long and we can fix it right now.
All right. The last question. So just can you open up the report which you open up in the form of the PDF? It's in the download section.
This one?
Yeah. The report in the download. Yeah. So sometimes, like, a same employee might be repeating multiple times, and how can we suppress those employees? Like right now, all employees are very immature, and there are times like when you in a report where the same row will be repeating with the different values of the different columns. Like, is there any reports that will do that? Like, how can you suppress those similar values which are repeating on the report or something like that? On if you use advanced report or something.
Yeah. So I mean, in this case, like you said, we are using worker business object. So worker business object will only have one line per worker, right? So you won't have duplicate workers there. So you're clear there.
Yes.
But if we are I'm thinking what other
business, like I'm not sure, like in the sense, like in any other business object, there will be multiple roles associated to an employee, right?
I mean, like for example, worker history, right? We have seen worker history before. So worker history has much.
So what he's asking is how to use distinct, in other words.
Yes, it's a distinct, but let's take this one, an employee and he has the dependency. Let's consider he has a 3 dependents. When we join the worker with the dependents business object, it has 1 to 3 relationship. And if I'm trying to print employee name along with this dependent name, you see the employee name repeating again and again with the dependent name. So if I want to suppress those employee name, whenever there is a change in the employee name, then only it has to be printed like that. So is there any way that we can suppress such kind of thing? Usually we call them in SQL as on logic, but is it possible in Workday? That's what I'm saying.
I haven't seen anything like that, but I'll definitely try to research it because I haven't seen any such scenario. Even though if we join those two, if it is on worker object, you'll have one line for each worker, and you can't suppress that. But let me add one little field here. Let me show you. Let's go to worker history again. Okay, so in this case, Radhika have two events, right? So there is a second line for Radhika as well. But if I export this as PDF,
Okay, cool. So we're getting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's still giving it as blank, but in an Excel, usually it will pre-fill the below line as well. So Radhika is duplicated here until here. Oh, you're not seeing this. Okay. You guys can see the Excel now?
Yeah.
Okay. So Radhika is duplicated until here because this is all on worker object, right? Until here this is on worker object. Worker history, it has two lines.
Right. So I'm good with that because it's a part of the delivered PDF report, and it's inbuilt logic. It's already built in the Workday. So I'm with that.
Yeah, and I don't think we can. I mean, we can filter. We can filter basically saying only give me high event or something like that, but it's not distinct as I know now.
No, in Excel it's coming up, but in PDF we are seeing like report-wise. In report, it's not repeating the values. It's only printing the unique values. That's what I noticed there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm good with that. Thank you.
Yep. Any other question? We are almost at the end of the session. And guys, give me feedback. This is not my normal, not a regular trainer, so give me feedback. I'll try to improve. Have to end.
Krishna, I'm sure you will be sharing it later. Those web services you showed, can you show some examples later on?
Come again?
The web services.
Web service?
I know you showed the types and all, but can you show some examples? Or
examples in the sense when we go to a report, right?
Like the inbound, outbound, not the report, the inbound, outbound integrations, and maybe it's a part of another class, the integrations.
Oh yeah. We're gonna build something.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Something. And if you guys have time, if you wanna look at, if you're interested in web services, look for Workday Web Services. It's public, so you can directly click on Google, and you will see all the services Workday offers. So if I go to my human management.
So this is a community. Is this a public website? I don't have a.
Yeah.
I don't have a.
This will be public. You don't have to have community access. It's a public link. Just search for Workday Web Services. You'll get the first link. If I go to human resources, I can see all the APIs that Workday offers. If I get workers, which is used to get employee data, and if I have staffing, I can go to change job. I can do hire employees. Those are all APIs for Java. So you can directly do it from an external system also. So let's say if you have an external recruiting system and they are hiring employees and you want them integrated to Workday, you create a Studio integration using this hire employee API, get data from the external system and upload it to Workday. Or you can also export this API to the external system or give this API to the external system and the recruiting system directly can post to Workday.
All
They're all APIs.
are SOAP-based web
SOAP.
services. Yeah?
Yep, these are all SOAP. Okay. Any other questions? It's not urgent, but if I can stay if you have studio issues installing, we can do it. Otherwise, no one has issues. I think we're good for today. I'll try to share some assignments here. We'll not have anything tomorrow. We'll have the regular 5 p.m. class on Monday, and that will be taken by Dhanush. He'll probably be wrapping it up, and later we'll go straight into our sessions. I'll try to create a schedule and stick to it on a weekly. Fridays we'll not have class. Saturday and Sunday, depending on all the teams' availability, we can come up with something. Okay. I don't have anything else. That's all. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday, and the Monday session will be on the regular meeting, not the Ring Central.
Right.
All right,
The regular meeting that Shyla organizes.
Thank you.
So we don't have class tomorrow on
Have a good weekend.
Sunday class.
Yeah, no class tomorrow. Monday is again we'll meet.
Yeah.
Monday.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Good weekend.
weekend.